It's been, of course, 1 year since the death of Kilyn Lewis. APD shot Lewis while serving him a warrant. An officer saw a cell phone in his hand they thought was a gun and shot him. Previously released body cam footage shows this all happened after Lewis did not respond to commands to put his hands in the air. No charges were brought to that officer who shot him. His family wants to see changes happen within APD, including mandating releasing unedited body camera footage to families and allowing civilian oversight after an officer-involved shooting. That family, again, as I mentioned, has now filed a lawsuit. And joining me this morning is our 9 News legal expert, Whitney Traylor, to help us understand this latest lawsuit. Whitney, good morning.
Good morning.
Let's start with the lawsuit itself. Who is being sued and what are they claiming in it?
Right, so this is a wrongful death claim and a wrongful death lawsuit that the family has brought, the estate of Kilyn Lewis, and they've brought this claim against the police department and the officer individually, the officer who shot. And essentially they've brought claims saying that this was excessive force. These were Colorado constitutional claims saying that he was deprived his right of due process. And then they have these common law claims of assault and battery resulting in wrongful death. And so they just filed the lawsuit. And in fact, I think as of yesterday, the police department hadn't been served yet, but the lawsuit had been filed. So the next step is that they'll be served.
Now, let's be clear. It's not uncommon to wait this long to file a lawsuit. But of course, every time this happens, that's always the number one question. If this happened a year ago, why did they wait 1 year to file it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And they're certainly within the statute of limitations. So why they waited, it could have been a number of reasons. They could have taken them a while to actually secure an attorney to do so. They could have been doing investigation. They could have been engaged in settlement conversations. And that's something that we don't know. So this is a year seems like a long time, but certainly a lot has happened in that year. So I'm not necessarily surprised.
Now, multiple investigations, as we were reporting, have showed and that they were completed, that the officer was found to not have violated any policy. Right. How is that going to factor now into these latest charges that have been filed? Yeah,
that's an issue. I mean, because the internal investigations resulted in a finding that the officer didn't violate agency policy. They had a grand jury look at it, and the grand jury didn't bring charges, nor did the DA. And so, they're saying that he didn't do anything wrong criminally, but of course, this is a civil case. So there's a difference between a civil and a criminal case. In a criminal case, you have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. In a civil case, it's a preponderance of the evidence. Yeah. So there will be probably a fight, an evidentiary fight before trial to determine if they can discuss the criminal case or that there were no criminal charges. Most likely that'll be kept out, but that'll be something that like a motion in limine to decide if that can be entered in during the trial.
Absolutely. And I like to correct myself. I said charges that were brought forward. Of course, I meant in this lawsuit that has now been brought forward. Is this the type of case that you're likely to settle, or do you expect this to go to trial?
This is going to be tough. I think it's going to go to trial. The vast majority of cases settle as they should, and the reason they settle is because the cost of defense. You don't know what a jury is going to do. It's many years of your life. It's very all-encompassing to go for a trial, and then of course the publicity. So there's all these factors that go in that both sides consider when determining whether or not to settle. And this, for the Aurora Police Department, I mean, they are. They're trying to rebuild their reputation. Right. They don't need any more bad publicity. So there's incentive there, and I'm sure there will be settlement discussions, if they get it done or not. The thing about going to particularly a jury trial is you don't know how a jury is going to react. Rule, right. I mean, and I do trust the jury system. We're one of the few countries in the world with a jury system, and I've been engaged in many, many trials, and I think it works, but there's a lot of nuance to it. Right. And you just don't know. And so that's really difficult for both sides to have this hanging, in the balance for all those years.
It's a bit more of a gamble when you leave it up to other people to decide.
That's very true. And, in the facts, like I said, you present the facts and they apply it to the law. And I think that the system does work. But, there's cases that should have been won that are lost and vice versa.
Real fast, because we like to put a roadmap out for everybody who is following along this case at home. What is the next thing we can expect now that this lawsuit has been filed?
Right, so it's been filed, so the next thing is they'll have to be served, and then once all the defendants are served, they'll have 30 days to answer, or they'll file a motion to dismiss, and then the civil case will go forward. And an important part of the civil case is the discovery process. So that's where both sides get to get information from the other side. So that's where you'll get some of that. If there's any video that hasn't been released, you'll be able to get all of that. So it will shine a light even more so on this case if there's facts that haven't been borne out yet.
All right, Whitney, we appreciate it, as always. Now let's get a check.